Well, it's May 5th today, day 32, repotting season. The flowers are just about, thank you motorcycle, flowers are just about all gone. Some of them are still hanging on, but petals fall off. Most of them came off in the rain the other day, but some of them are still hanging on. This tree over here lost all of its petals a lot earlier, and the ones on this tree stuck around a lot longer, which is interesting. I'm not sure why exactly. I'm pretty sure they're the exact same species. Anyways, yeah, everything is looking great over here. Almost everything, anyways. All the pines are looking great. The needles are starting to extend, and yeah, look really good. No movement on the white pine yet, or sorry, not the white pine, the white ash, but it looks okay. The winter creeper that I repotted hasn't really done anything yet, but the cuttings that I left alone are flushing out already, which is kind of interesting. The root pruning and repotting definitely stunted that one a little bit. These little balsam firs over here doing really well. The really small ones already leafing out. It's hard to focus on those really small ones. All of my cedars look like they're getting their, spring colors. The tips turning like a yellowish, rusty yellow before they turn green and really start growing. The pawpaw back there is still nothing, so I haven't repotted any of my other pawpaws yet. I'll wait until they start moving. This is the gray alder. It's looking really awesome. All the mountain ashes look great. 1, 2, 3. This is the one I didn't prune, so of course it's much more farther on in the process. The little balsam poplar down there is looking good. The mystery tree is not looking great, but that's okay. The oak hasn't opened up yet, but the buds are still very slowly growing. I definitely repotted that one too early, so hopefully I didn't kill it. I'll pot it later in the season next year. The Ohio Buckeye's doing well. The 2 needle red pines doing well. The silky, is that it? Yeah, silky dogwood is doing okay. The buds are starting to extend a little bit. My silver maple over here looks awesome, and I'm, I think even more sure now that it is a silver maple. Those leaves look very, very cool. Silver surfer, gonna look awesome. Yeah, I think that's everything up there. I didn't really mean to do a whole update of everything, but whatever. Little Norway maple forest that I didn't number yet. These 2 maples I probably repotted too early, so nothing happened on them. Red maple leafing out, looking great. Other Norway maples from the yard. This is the first one I repotted. It was definitely way too early for it. I think, I don't know, it might have died off. This was one of my very first trees, I think. I definitely took a lot of risks with it. Not too concerned if it dies. Balsam fir down here is looking really awesome. Sorry, that's not the balsam fir. This is the white spruce. Yeah. I already showed the balsam fir up top. Some more pines, some more cedars. Nothing's happened on the rows of Sharons yet. I probably repotted them way too early. The birch down here, silver birch, looks amazing. The big Norway maples looking okay. Yeah, this pine is actually one of the furthest along. Its needles haven't extended very far. Sorry, the candles haven't, but the needles on them are starting to come out already. kinda. So that's interesting. All of these ones over here, sorry, I haven't repotted yet. The cedar and the cedar forest in there looks okay. The chicken foot birch looks alright, I guess. Although there's no movement on it, no growth. That cedar looks pretty good. So does that one. Yeah. There's the big spruce I repotted the other day. The buds are, you know, still enlarging, turning green in a lot of spots. Looking really huge down here. That's awesome. Over here, my big sugar maple is opening up. All these huge leaves. I really got to be on the lookout for caterpillars this year. I don't want them eating all the leaves like they did last year. Norway maple forest looking good. White pine 17 looking good. Candles extending. White pine 16. I believe that's 16 looking good. I need to do a soapy water treatment for that pine scale that's in there. It's in that one especially. This might be a slightly different species, I'm not sure. It kind of looks and acts different than the other white pines I have. Anyways, that's enough babbling on. That's like 7 minutes already almost. This is just a repotting video. Yeah, so I've decided, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do another, one of the larger ones that I have left anyways. It's time to do this big spruce in here. Now, this might be the black spruce. I'm not 100% sure on that. Last year my plant app ID'd a black spruce and a white spruce. And this one over here, I think I'm calling a white spruce. But this one, I don't know, could be a black spruce. We'll see. Anyways, I'm just gonna call it maybe spruce question mark for now until I can get a positive ID on it. But yeah, what I'm gonna do with this one is just prune it into a very rough conical shape. It's got a lot of long, leggy growth. I definitely don't need all that. I'm gonna try and prune back to buds everywhere I can, and I'm gonna have to leave, some of the long growth, of course, but if I can at least cut back to these buds and cut off the thick branch here, then, it'll force some growth back, some back budding hopefully, and, just make this more compact and less bushy like. Anyways, time to get started. I'll try to do this pretty quick at this point. Okay, so first a little spin of this tree. Pretty bushy looking, but there's a whole lot of buds in there I can cut back to. That's looking pretty cool. So I'm gonna do the pruning over here, so hopefully it all stays on camera. I'll show a close-up of some of these buds after, but the lowest ones look like they're just about opening up. They've got green tips on them, and then the highest ones here haven't opened yet, but they're getting really fat. So I think maybe I'll start at the top and work my way down. So first off, I don't want this leader to keep growing strong. I'm just gonna prune it back to a certain shape and height, and then try to maintain that height more or less, and have like a fairly, kind of medium size formal upright type spruce. I don't know, we'll see what it turns into in the future, but that's what I'll do for now. I really want to push growth farther back in the tree. So there's a little bud down here coming out this way, so I'll cut off the leader, and these two I'll take off entirely. There's also another bud right down here. So taking off all the top growth, but you know, all the apical growth, which is usually the strongest, and it had really big buds on it, so that'll push a lot of growth down. These two will grow up as the leader. So same thing here. There's a bud back here where the branch splits, so I'll cut it back to that. Same thing here. This branch splits into 3, but there's a bud there. And yep, like clockwork, same thing there. These buds are pretty weak, but that's fine. By the time they develop, there will be a lot of, you know, energy being pushed back in the tree. This one, there's a bud right there, which is a perfect spot to cut back to. And also, this one is a perfect spot. It's almost like this tree just wants to be a perfect little formal upright. There's just buds everywhere there needs to be. Now, except for these long branches, and actually there are 3 thick branches coming out of the exact same spot, and kind of a fat, yeah, kind of lump there. So I think I'm going to cut off 2 of these branches. There is a bud here growing out this way, so that would be a good place to fill in. There's kind of an empty spot here. This branch grows right over top of 2 smaller ones here, so I'll get rid of this one entirely, and this new bud will replace it. Just try and not cut off the bud as I do this. Yep. Nice. How's that looking? Quite a bit better already. Better, but also, you know, emptier at the same time. So the other one I'm gonna get rid of, I think, will be the strongest one. And I'll keep the weakest one and cut it back to this growth, or these buds here, which are the closest ones to the trunk. So yeah, I'll make this cut flush with the trunk, get in there as close as I can. Take that off. That was a pretty major branch. This one, like I said, so it would be good to have a branch coming out there. There is a small bud, you know, here, which is pretty far out, but that's fine for now. I'll hopefully get some back budding. And there's a small bud right there. I can keep that branch. I'll cut this one off entirely so that it splits into 2. Well, actually, it's going into 3 there. No, it isn't, because I'm chopping off that part. So it splits off into 2, and there's actually 3 buds. I'll do a close-up after. There's 3 buds off this small little branch there, which could eventually be the leader if I wanted to have some, you know, interesting movement at the top of the tree there. It's pretty good. So this other long one I can shorten. Actually, I should probably get rid of that also. It's a little too thick and long with not a lot of good back budding there, so I'll get rid of that one entirely as well. This is actually a lot more cutting than I thought I was gonna do today, but I think it's necessary for the long-term, you know, long-term future of this tree. I'll cut back to there, and this little scraggly one I'll take off entirely. This one I'll take back there, and this is kind of a weird long thin branch that takes a weird turn at the end. It's almost like 90 degrees, but it's got 4 buds on it. I'll cut back to the first one, and I think I'll just cut that dead wood back a small bit there and take out that dead wood. And I think that's basically all I can do for now. That was a lot of cutting, and there's a lot of empty space here and here now that'll fill in the future, hopefully. There's this bud coming out that way. This bud coming out this way. Try and get some more coming there eventually. Okay, that's it for the pruning. Time to do the repotting. This video is already super long, isn't it? So first I'll show you which one was the top one. I think this was the apex, how large those buds are, and then kind of how small some of them are lower down on the tree. So this is all quite a bit that I took off. Got a very nice sprucey smell going on here. It smells great. So one interesting thing about the moss here is there's a little thing growing up, and I think that's a little seed pod growing. I don't know if there's any seeds in it, but no, it was still forming. I just kind of busted it for science. I was curious. I have some other ones of those seed pods growing in the moss of one of my other trees. So yeah, I'll try and save some of that moss. Put it off to the side. Got a bunch of roots growing out the top here. Try and get any weeds that I see picked out of here, because I'm going to reuse the soil for cuttings and seeds probably. Oh yeah, quite a bit of root in there. Actually, this pot's a little bit broken, so I'm going to have to put this in something different, I think. Yeah, I have basically the exact same kind of pot, those orange dollar store ones. So as always, 1 year ago me really loved all this, coarse drainage layer at the bottom. But I don't think it's really necessary. I think it probably does more harm than good, actually. For the way I, water and take care of my trees anyways. Everybody's different. We all have different systems and, different watering schedules and fertilizing. We have different conditions we grow our trees in. kind of coming up out of the soil at a weird angle out of the side of the tree there. Yeah, I apologize. As always, there's a bunch of traffic noise in my videos. I'm pretty close to a major road here in Hamilton. One day I'll live out in the country somewhere and I'll be doing my videos in a forest. All you'll hear are birds and other wildlife, not screaming humans. The sound of the wind going through the leaves of a tree is one of my favorite sounds in the world, I think. And it has been for a long time, way before I got into bonsai, that's for sure. I've only been doing this just exactly 3 years now. It was May 2019 when I really first started watching bonsai videos. Nigel especially I found first, I think. And it all took off from there. So that's quite a bit of roots on there. Some of them got torn, obviously, the crossing ones, and a couple longer ones, but that's fine. So I'll give these a wash, and then I'll cut off what I can. I think some of these are going in pretty good directions. I think I'll end up cutting off all or most of that taproot if I can. Right, well, what do we have here? So that's a pretty nice one, that long one up there. This one, like I said, it's unfortunate, but it grows off at a very weird angle. I don't know, maybe for now I'll keep it. I'll just cut off the thicker part. And then the rest of it will hopefully grow at a better angle, and then maybe this part will eventually kind of fuse together when the trunk gets thicker, and it won't be so noticeable that it grew off at a weird angle. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for anyways. So, everything... I think I'm gonna keep everything above this spot for now, even though they're not all perfect up there, but at least I will have made some really good progress with this repotting. So we'll just go straight through there. See you later. And yeah, that's quite a bit of roots that came off, but not too bad really. There's a whole bunch coming off of one spot there. I think eventually I'm not gonna want that, but for now I think I'm just gonna leave it be. I'll just shorten all these roots. I'll just cut this one here that's definitely grown at a weird angle and not necessary. Everything else I'm gonna keep. But this thick one obviously needs to come back quite a bit. I think that's the perfect spot right there. it in there. Oops. Pruners weren't working on that so great. I think they need to be sharpened. Okay, that's enough of that. I'm gonna put it in a different pot, but I'm just gauging the size here to take off a little bit more. That should be fine. Nice little tree now. Okay, I'll just get the pot prepared. I'll be right back. Okay, and that's ready to go. I think that'll be a good planting depth. I'll just get all of these moved out to the side. Have them growing radially as much as I can anyways, even though I'll eventually probably cut off a whole bunch of them. Just keep the really good ones. Okay, I think that's gonna do it. I think once that's watered in, it'll be pretty nice. I think I could improve that planting angle a little bit more. Just try and get it that way ever so slightly. Oops. Something like that, maybe? I think I like that better. Okay, I'll just do a little bit more of this because I kind of disturbed those roots. Just to make sure I fill in right underneath the tree especially. Okay, enough fussing around with that one. Yeah, I think that's a really good start for this tree. I didn't do any root pruning on it, I don't think, last time I repotted it. Just about exactly a year ago. It grew some really good roots in that time, and some fairly decent foliage as well. A lot of that growth was just from last year. So yeah, it's done really well over the last year. I'm really happy with the progress on this one, and I can't wait to watch it grow some more. Okay, that's it for this one. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Cheers.